Hello, guys. My name is Berkay Ermiş. Uh, Today, we are gonna perform our first event, which is gonna cover some general Python topics by our core team member Busal Ismailov. Welcome, Busal.
Hello, Berkay. So as Berkay mentioned, guys, today we're going to cover the general Python syntaxes and do just a little project for now. But in the coming events, we're probably going to go much more deeper and much more advanced projects altogether.
So before starting, I want you to introduce yourself. Actually, we have introduced you into in the info session with the IPEC, but I want you to introduce one more time.
True, of course. So I am Vishal, guys. I'm a second grade computer engineering student right now studying at the University of Medipol. And I was like, yeah, past year we have actually learned Python. So why not to help you guys this year about in Python and for your midterms maybe, and doesn't matter actually even if you pass Python or not. I think it's going to be very useful and educative, probably for all of us, I hope.
So we have shared the form actually 4 or 5 days ago through our WhatsApp group, and we have taken actually around 48 answers. I want you to show these results. And so this is the poll results, and we are gonna try to cover all of these topics today with the Busal. So what you are gonna cover today in detail, actually, before starting, maybe.
So right. First of all, guys, I just want to mention that we have created a GitHub link, a GitHub repository about what we are going to cover today. So I hope someone is actually let me actually drop it myself the link into the chat. So you can just go over. Okay, you can just check the link in the chat. So it's going to cover actually what we're going to do today. So you're gonna find a Jupyter notebook file actually here. So we have like the dependencies here and what we're going to do. So just like Google Colab, we are going to use actually Google Colab. So because why not? Free GPU, free environment for us to use. But it's completely fine if you just want to go and run in local files. Like doesn't matter. But I'm gonna just start covering from the basics. At the end, just using the for and while loops, because as far as I know, like a lot of the freshman students have been like this issues related to the for and while loops. So I will try to cover that out within this Jupyter notebook file. Yeah.
So I don't want to waste the audience's time. So let's go. Let's start. Actually, I want you to alone, and stage is yours. You can start.
All right, great. So first of all, guys, welcome back again. We're very happy actually to have you among us today. And what I'm going to be doing today is, first of all, it's very easy actually to connect the GitHub projects to the Google Colab, as you're gonna be noticing right now. So all you have to do is just after opening your Google Colab for the first time, just make sure to sign in. I'm already signed in, as you can see on the top right side. And by clicking the GitHub link and just pasting your link here, as you can see, it's gonna go and cover the branches. But right now we are using the master branch. So you're gonna see that there's IPYMB, which is a Jupyter Notebook, the file system, the IPYMB. So if you just click on it, it's gonna open a new file, and we're gonna do some little configurations for the first time if it's your first time with the Google Colab. And I'm gonna also explain what is Google Colab itself. So you can kind of think itself that as far as I know, we have all covered the Anaconda's Jupyter Notebook, the application. And this is exactly the same system, however, deployed in the cloud system of Google. So it's going to be very fast, efficient. Okay, let me just go to the notebook settings. And for example, for the coming videos, we're also thinking about to make the model trainings and deploying stuff. So especially at that case, you are going to need the GPU. However, unfortunately, not most of us actually have that very powerful laptops or like the workstations to cover this whole stuff. So we're probably going to also cover all those the AI related things throughout the Google Colab. And as you can see, I'm going to use hardware accelerated GPU, even though we don't need it. I just wanted to mention that. So later or sooner, we just need to mention it and also use it. So on the right side, you're gonna find the details about your Google Colab and all the codes right here. But before I really get and touch all the stuff, I just want to give a quick and brief the explanation why we use Python first of all. So because Python is first of all so easy language to learn because of this syntax. It's kind of like we are writing a pseudocode actually, not programming. It's kind of like it's not a programming language even. So even if you go and search out by like the most popular programming languages, for example, this is the first site that I have clicked after searching it. and Python is at the top spot. So it doesn't matter if you go for the other sides. Believe it or not, the Python either going to be in the first spot or like in the top 3 at least. And looking at the salaries and number of jobs like on demand, you're going to see the numbers are very huge actually. So $120,000 a year as a salary is very huge, I guess, especially for such easy language as Python. So numbers of jobs also, by the way, increasing day by day. And coming to the fields of the Python itself. So the thing is that I know it's hard for everyone to just choose a field. Maybe it can be gaming or like data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence. There's a lot of fields actually in computer society. However, if we just go and focus on the Python itself, you're going to see there's still a lot of actual phases to follow on. Starting with the first one can be the web development. And if you just go over and if you're really enthusiastic about web development, Python is actually a very good programming language to go because of the frameworks that has been created by Python, such as Django, Flask, and so on. So I would really support you if you would also just interested in web development. And we can even make a series about that. For example, the making the websites using the Python and its frameworks. And as you can see, it has also already mentioned here that because of security, scalability, and convenience. So moving on, there's mentioned game development, which I wouldn't really suggest you to actually do with Python. As really easy as it sounds, as it is actually, of course, the thing is that in game development, if you really want to go and just touch some professional stuff, I don't really think that you can actually succeed with the Python. So if you really want to just focus on the gaming stuff, just go use like some like the advanced like the game engines such as like Unity or like the Unreal Engine, and make sure you are going to learn the C# mainly, because C# and like the C++ related languages, which are actually kind of like so similar to the machine language, they're mostly used, especially in these fields, to make the process and to make all the stuff much more easier, I guess, and also faster algorithms running in the background with those C# and C++ codes. However, moving on, machine learning and artificial intelligence, like even if you just read the names, make sure that the first tutorial, if you're going to just look at any of them, the first one that's going to pop up is going to be for sure make with Python. Okay, like literally right now, especially data science and data visualization, as you can see in the forest, machine learning, AI, ML, all of this stuff actually are made with Python generally. And that's why a lot of libraries are also being done by the community, and they are being contributed to the community for free. That's why every day, like you can imagine, that it's being updated. So you're not going to have any problems with that. If you go and choose any of these fields, make sure that just learn you just found your Python background very, very solid, and everything's going to be good to go then.
So
moving on again.
Interruption. I want to mention that I'm gonna show your question during this session. So don't hesitate to ask anything to the Vusal, and Vusal is gonna try to answer them. So I wanted to mention this. If you have any question about these areas or anything about during this session, just type and write. So send any question. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for mentioning, Barkay. By the way, as Barkay mentioned, guys, if you're really frustrated which field to choose, actually, just make sure to touch like all of them. Just at least feel how they taste actually. So you're gonna have an idea, like based in your mindset, that okay, if I go this ML, I'm gonna learn this stuff. If you go desktop UI, for example, again, coming to the desktop UI, it's the kind of same for me as the game development. I wouldn't really suggest you to go and just do the desktop UI applications with Python, because I don't think that they're actually reasonable to do with Python. Again, the C# would be recommended here. But the last one is web scraping. As it is our last thing, by the way, I just want to mention that our project is also going to be about a web scraping application. So make sure that if you're really going with Python, don't think of that, okay, I'm going to do some very professional stuff. I mean, right now, even personally, in my free time as a hobby, I just take Python, for example, and anything that I have in my mind, I just put it in my code. First of all, in algorithm, of course, then in my code. That's all probably for now about Python and about introduction. And just a quick thing that I want to mention, guys. The thing is that if you're first of all new to programming, never go and just, for example, open your notepad or your IDE and start coding. That's not how it is done actually. So always either take your notepad or like open just Paint and try to draw the whole algorithm set either in your mind or just in the paper or something that you're going to see and are just going to convert the same stuff, the same algorithms in Python. Okay. So it's not about, okay, let me just open a Python and let me just write down. You're going to have a lot of issues, actually, just believe me. Because even though I'm really very, very, very solid, like the background in Python, especially like friends, and they're very strong, but when before getting into their coding, they always just paint to draw their whole circuit kind of. So what they're going to do line by line. Okay, as I mentioned this, I just wanna, again, we're going to back to Google Colab. If you just wanna run simultaneously with me, you can just do with the link that I've given in this GitHub link in the chat, I think, right? I think I did. So, or you can just open your IDE. The thing is that they're gonna be a little bit differences because the thing is that Google Colab also supports Python 2 point something, and at the same time, anything that's above 3 point something. So anything that you write the code in Python 2 and Python 3, it doesn't matter. It's gonna work in Google Colab. And at the same time, the very good stuff about the Google Colab is that you can literally connect your Google Drive to Google Colab, and you can just have, like, for example, doesn't matter how much space you have in your storage in Google Cloud, you are going to be able to use the same materials that you have in your Google Cloud profile, right? Also on the Google Cloud, sorry. All right, then let's start with the simple stuff. I don't really want to just bother you and just spend a lot of your time. Oh, by the way, let me just start this. Okay, let me run it anyway. Okay, now, as you know, this is the simple calculator stuff that you probably also just solved as your homework. I don't know, you have to probably. Okay, coming next, I just wanted, by the way, mention about the data types. So right now, the thing is that the output in our sum is going to be 4, which is an integer type, right? However, if you go down and find the result here, it's not 5, it's actually 5.0. And if you would ask me that what is the difference between 5 and 5.0, the thing is that there is some different data types, such as the integer types, string types, float types, bool types, etc. So right now, when we divide something, it actually automatically gets the output for you as as a float. Doesn't matter whatever the result is, even though it's integer or float, it's always going to get you the result as an float value. However, of course, you can just anytime just convert this by just using the Python's built-in function int. And if I just run my function now, you're going to see that we are going to get the result as an integer. However, again, all the divisions are going to be based on the in Python especially, and the result is going to be in float values. For example, if I divide 7 by 3, if I get my result as an integer, I would get it as a 2, right? Because I don't get anything in the remainder or something. However, if we just divide it directly 7 by 3, we're going to get 2.333. I mean, all the data in precise format. Again, this is a very good point. I actually also wanted to challenge that. Doesn't matter if you divide the 7 by 3 or 7 by 3 points, which is actually a float format, by the way, or like 7 divided by float 3. All of these are the same. So 3.0 and 3 point, just a point without nothing coming after this dot, or like just float 3 written in this format. They're all the same in the float version, and doesn't matter if you just run them, they're gonna just give you the same results as on the others above. Hope it is clear. By the way, any questions if you have in mind, just make sure to write in the chat. I'm also checking the chat, by the way, sometimes. So if I will just see any of the questions related to the stuff, I will definitely gonna go and answer your question. All right, great. So there's some default libraries, by the way, coming with Python. In Google Colab, also again, all these main libraries, including TensorFlow and such other like big libraries, are coming installed with. So all you just have to do is just import them and use them. If not, you can always just install them by just using this command, like as we use, for example, in our pip commands, as in Python, for example, pip3 install and the package name. If you run this thing, it's going to first go over there and find the package and download it for you. Easy as that. Right. What I'm going to do here is that I'm going to go and find the square root of 8 for example. What will happen here is that if I run the code, it's going to work directly, right? However, the thing is that here again, the square root it is kind of the base system of division, so it's going to get the result also as the float value. So just keep in your mind, it's going to also keep the value as float. However, if you don't like import just the square root function from math, but import the math itself with the whole functions, you have to write. Okay, let me just show you that also. You have to write the math at the beginning of your function. So I want to import my math library, and I want to, for example, use a squared function of my math library. So all you have to do is just by writing the name of the function that the library that you're going to use, dot the function that included in the math or like in the library that you're going to use. It's going to give you the direct result. All right, moving on next, we have in the width and the length as integer type declared variables. So what we expect in the area to be is, as our width is 20 and the length is 30, and I've declared my area as I am going to multiply the width by the length. So it's kind of defining the area of the rectangle, right? It's simple as that also again. And the thing is that in Google Colab, you're not supposed to, for example, if you just want to find the value of area or what it's kind of going to be, in Python IDE or whatever you want to use, you always are supposed to actually write print and the name of the declared variable that you want to see what the result or like the value that it holds in itself, right? However, in just Google Colab, you have to just writing the name of the thing without the print is going to be much more than enough to find the result. As you can see here, 20 multiplied by 30 is going to be 600 right here. All right, great. But we have found the area. But what about if our it's not a rectangle, but we want to find the value of it, right? I mean the volume, sorry. So in order to find the volume, the thing is that we have never declared volume before, and we don't even have declared like what the function of the volume is supposed to be. So if I run this function itself, it's gonna say that the volume is not defined, which is completely right. I've never defined it above, and I want to just find the volume. There isn't such function doesn't even exist. So what it's supposed to do is I'm gonna just declare another depth of 10, which is going to be in my same rectangle, by the way, with the width of 20 and the length of 30. And what I'm supposed to do, what I know how the volume is found, is, as we all know, guys, by just multiplying the total area of a figure by its depth or by its height, I guess, you are supposed to find the volume, right? But that's what I'm doing here in volume, is that I'm saying that my depth is going to be 10, and my area that I've already found about is 600. So if I want to find the total volume and run a code, I'm supposed to get 6,000. The reason being 600 multiplied by 10 is going to give us a result as 6,000. I hope it's all completely clear to now, right? And moving next. So the thing is that what you see in the list right now are the main functions, are the syntax of Python. So which means you cannot actually use all these functions as the naming of your variables. For example, let me create actually a code for the bar here and write, for example, break equal to 5. If you notice probably that the break is already turned purple or pink, actually, sorry, my bad. It's pink right now because it's of the syntax of Python. However, if you look about all the declared variables are white and they're supposed to be white. However, break, raise, return, try, all the things that you see right here are the syntax of the Python. So you're not going to be able to use them as declaring your variable, which is going to cause you the causing you get to an error actually at the end. Hope that makes sense. And going to next, return 0 is going to return the exactly the same thing goes for the return, as we cannot do the return equals 0, but we can do return 0 itself directly, right? And because of course I'm not in the function, it's supposed to give me the error, right? That makes sense. So by the way, just to make sure that this is right now this code blocks, you can think. So you cannot just go over and click a return 0. You can just, for example, write print 0. But return 0 and return all the things that's related to return is always done within the functions. So as I don't have a function or like return inside of my function, it's not going to work out. Okay, let's move to the strings actually, because strings are actually one of my favorite data types that I use the most. And you might notice already here that we have like the here quotes and double quotes. They're the same things actually. The thing is that if you want to use the quote itself, if I run this, for example, hello world within the quotes, it's going to give me the quotes here. But if I print it out, it's not supposed to. Okay, let me just let's try it out. What if we're just going to print it, not return it? You're going to say you're going to get hello world, right? And if you go and print literally the same string, however, with double quotes, it doesn't really make like much more difference. As a result, you're even going to see that they're completely the same. So what's the difference between using a double quotes or like the quotes, single quotes? So the thing is that if you consider the fact that you also want to include these quotes within your string, for example, you want to also print the quotes yourself. So how are you going to do that? I mean, like Python actually finds its syntax as, for example, okay, it's a single quote. So anything that's going to be between them are going to be printed out. But I want the single quote itself also printed out as a result. So what I'm going to do is just if you're having a double quote, by having the only single quote inside, let me just do that. Okay, now we have a single quote inside double quotes. If I run the code, you're supposed to get the single quote as a result. However, if we can do actually the exact same, the inverse version. Like we can have two right here. We can have like the single quotes. In the middle, we have double quotes. If I go and run this, you're going to get the result as double quote. But this is how we use actually the difference between the double quotes and single quotes. If you just wonder then why we have like two difference to display string, that's the reason. Even as it's mentioned right here. So again, this is going to be the same thing that it's going to just print out our result. she asked, how are you today? If I run this now, you're supposed to get you and see that we are going to print out a result without any errors or any problems and issues. And moving on next. Okay, this is the problem that I have actually mentioned in the starting of the course, that I've told you guys that Google Colab runs Python version 2 and 3 at the same time without any issues. So that's the point I want to touch. And if I, for example, write greeting and declare my variable hello world to my greeting and print greeting, and all right, that's the reason. 1 second, let me just write greeting here. Here you go. I think, by the way, right, it might be the issue that because of the Python 3.6, 3.x.x anyways, whatever you call that, it's being actually run in my Google Colab right now. But it's also completely fine if you're going to use the Python 2 above, because I've already started the whole Python series as Python.3, Python 3 point something actually. So that's why it might not run the Python 2 point something codes simultaneously. That kind of makes sense actually. So if I go, for example, the area, we have already, by the way, run our area above, and it was 30 multiplied by 20. As a result, we got 600, and it was in our area here. So the area is going to be 600 here. All right, I'm also going to then go here and just turn all my functions into the Python 3 functions. And if I run my code now, we're supposed to get hello world, but you're going to notice that there is not any space, which is kind of ugly. So I'm just going to give a space right here and just run it again. And we're going to see a space right here. So this is kind of how you sum or like get all the string data together. It's very important, by the way, that you cannot sum up the string with any other data type. So if you just want to sum any data types together, make sure that the data types are the same. Okay, either the same for only, I think as far as I know, the only difference is for the integers and the float values, that you can sum them together. Doesn't matter, they are the different, even though they are the different data types. However, besides that case, then all of your whole the data types should be the same in order to sum or subtract them. Yeah, because I wouldn't say that multiplication, because they are kind of working different. So that wouldn't make much sense. I would also like to show you that in a little bit. Again, the same stuff. Now instead of this space right here, we have left this space in our at the end of our first string. It should still give us the same result. And let me also turn this function to our Python 3 point something. And probably you have noticed, guys, I'm only just adding the parentheses, and it's literally turning my Python 2 function into Python 3 point something. So that's probably one of the main differences that we would notice, even though there's a lot of things actually going in the background. But that's the main difference that you would probably notice with your eyes when you're writing the code, that if without the parentheses, it used to work, that print function used to work, but right now it doesn't. So if I run the code again, this is a longer statement. Every word is being actually declared as a individual string. Okay, now list actually probably the best thing that you would use, especially, it doesn't matter if you are in competitive programming or anything. If I just run this days of the week, and by the way, I just really want to take notes, especially here, because it's very important, right, you guys. This is how you work with the lists, and how, for example, you slice them, how you use them. Of course, we are going to get different just a little bit down below. But if you want to just reverse whole list, what you're going to do is just reuse this function. So what it does, it starts from, for example, from the beginning, from the end, and it's -1, which means that just return my function from the end to the beginning, not from the beginning to the end, right? If I run this function now, you're going to notice that even though our list starts from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, in our the reversed ordered list, it's starting from the Saturday, which is the last element of our list. Then it's going to go Friday, then it's going to go Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, and Sunday at the end. So this might be actually the question itself in the midterms. If you just take note of this, or just go to our GitHub page and you can just download it, and whatever you want to do here. Yeah, that's all for it. So days of the week 2. So if we go and find and talk about the indexes here, right? I want to find the second element of my list, which is 1 to Monday, but I'm actually getting the result as Tuesday. Isn't that the weird for the people that's starting new, especially in Python? That might be actually right. However, the thing is that in computer society, in computer science actually itself, we are always using the index first as 0. So we are starting from 0 and going on following by that. So if you want to find, for example, the first element of the list, then the first element is actually Sunday, sorry. Then you are going to write not 1, but 0. If you're going to write, for example, 0, it's going to be Sunday. if you're going to, for example, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which are the days of the week, if I go and write here 7, what am I supposed to get as a result is actually an error right here. Yeah, you are supposed to get an error actually, because the thing is that your list consists of doesn't matter that it consists of 7 different elements. The 7 is actually 8 elements. The reason that you are already counting this 0 as 1. If I run this code, you're gonna see the list index out of range because we don't have the 7th element. Starting with, if you want, let's just check it out together. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we don't have the 7th element. That's why it's supposed to give me the error. But you can just go and you start, for example, 6, and it's gonna give you the Saturday. What is the best format? If like you have like an infinite almost amount of the list appended to your list, I mean the items appended to your list, and you just want to find the last one. However, you don't really want to just look at the length of the list, right? You just want to go from the end to the beginning. How do we find the last element? Is that you're going to use the -1. I don't know if you just noticed or not. The last element is a fixed element, and the -1 is also going to give me the last one. So if you want, for example, find the second element from the last, starting from the last element, then you can just go and do this 2, which is supposed to give over the result of the Friday. Let me just do it very fast. As you can see, and so on. Like the -3 gonna be this, -4, -5, -6, and -7. So you might think that we didn't have the 7 as a list, and how do you get the -7? The thing is that, guys, if you go from the beginning, from the end, actually, you have that element because you are starting from 1, not 0. That's the reason, and that's we have already mentioned here. Now, let me just print out, by the way, and this is the append comment coming up, the function actually. So my default, like the list, I have Fortran, C, and C++ as my languages appended to my list. However, if you use the append function, which also comes within the Python already, it's in the API of the Python, and whatever you write inside, it's going to get that item and just add it to your list. As you can see, let me just, without actually appending it, let me just print the total, the languages list, and let's see what's going to be the difference. All right, you can already see the difference that in the first list that we are printed out, which is the default languages, you're not going to have the Python actually appended to your list, right? However, moving on to the next, you're going to see that Python we already have because we have appended to our Python list. Simple as that, and we are now moving to the ranges, which is slightly going to move us to the for and while loops. By the way, I'm going a little bit faster, I think. I mean, if that's fine to you all, or if you don't have any questions, that will be fine. But still, any questions, anytime, doesn't matter, just go and ask them. The range 0 to 10 is going to, of course, just give us the range 0 to 10, which doesn't really make sense, right? And so yeah, I mean, if you just want to just go and print, for example, from something to 10 and the amount or like whatever you want to loop through, it's going to give you. But this is just a function, and it's kind of like the type, right? So it's going to do the same here actually, even though it takes actually the ranges from 2 to 8 and stores in the RAM. You're not going to use it because as soon as you do that, it's being probably staying in the temporary RAM, and it's being deleted as long as you don't use it. But however, if you go over and create a new range starting from 0, ending at 20, and every time we jump by 2, as you can see, we have already named the variable as evens, right? It's evens right here. So it's supposed to be also our range function. It's supposed to also give us the even numbers starting from 0 to 20. But the most important stuff that everybody literally missed when I started also the Python series was that everybody was thinking, okay, it's going to start from 0, it's going to be 2, 4, then 6, 8, 10, and we'll end up at 20. The thing is that it doesn't, and let me just show you that. So it's going to give the same stuff actually, because you didn't read it run or just look for any stuff inside. But if you go and look for the third item, that's kind of weird, right? So the third item, it's giving me the 3. It actually makes sense, not weird, but it's gonna kind of like create a list for you, starting from 0, then 2, then 4, then 6, 8, 10, 12, then 14, 16, 18, and 20. But is it really? In order to check the last item, what we learned about a few lines ago, that you can just check it out by writing the -1, which is going to be 18. So where did my 20 really go? That's interesting. So the thing is that if you write the range functions, guys, keep in your mind that even though the input variable that's 0 in my case is included, the last one is actually excluded. So if you want to loop 5 times, for example, the reason that I already start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5 is not included. However, your loop is going to be looped by 5 times. However, if you start with the 1, then you are going to you're not going to have the 5 exact loops. So I'm going to delete this 20 right here, and we're going to have a list exactly looking the same way. And that's how we're also going to take care of our events list. I can say -2. If the -2, then the expected variable is going to be the second from the end, which is 16. So if let me just also run it, which is going to be 16 like that. All right. One of the most important stuff about the list is that also doesn't matter which data type you use or you want to append, they're all completely defined. If you just want to append an integer, float, string, like even like empty string, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want, just append it because it's completely defined for the list. And it after appending it, for example, let me just do that. It's going to show me the same stuff exactly. But this is the help function and the length function of events. Help is also comes with the Python itself, its own library. But if I go, so it's going to show me that what length does really do, but you're probably not going to use it a lot, as you already know and familiar to what does length do. So if I, for example, do that events, it's going to show me the 10. What is 10? 10 is actually the number of elements that is appended in our list. So starting from the 0 to 18, it's going to be all be there. All right, let me go down a little bit, and this is where the iteration and indentation and blocks are coming. So this is the step that I actually want to move to Replit IT because I don't know why, but it kept getting me the same error. Let me check if it does. Okay, it doesn't. So previously when I tried, it was giving me the error because of the indentation. Indentation, actually, sorry, my bad. So indentation is very important in Python, even though it is not in the other languages, especially, for example, the Java, C, C++. It doesn't matter, okay? Even if you leave a space, if you leave it blank, it doesn't matter. It completely fine unless it is in the same parentheses. However, in Python, it's very, very important. If you just, for example, just let me just delete space right here and try to run my code, it's going to get, wait, what? All right, it is because of Google Colab. Right, I'm actually keep messing up with the Google Colab. So this is it. Okay, the thing is that in Google Colab, you might not have the, by the way, the accurate the results. Of course, it's gonna work, but still, it's right now. For example, it's not within the my for function, so that's why for loop actually. That's why it ain't gonna work. But as long as you move your indentation, I mean, within your like the for loop, it's gonna go and work. So I didn't actually even know that you can actually leave like two or more spaces. And it will still work. It's gonna be great. That's awesome. All right, awesome. So let's move to the next one. It's gonna do the same stuff as you can see, but every time my statement is going to be today is the day. So in my day is going to be the old elements in my days of the week. So starting from the first element, first day, it's gonna move to the next one, and next one, next one. Every time it's gonna just run it as a text. Let me run it. So you're gonna see like today is Sunday, today is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every time, right? If you just change this text by, for example, today is not Sunday, Monday, or something, it's going to do the exact same stuff. So without any issues. All right. Now, this is where we're actually now starting to learn about the for loops. If I run my code right now, it's going to say that the square of 0 is 0, the square of 1 is 1, 2 squared is actually going to be 4, 3 squared is going to be 9, and so on. And how does this really work is that what it does is actually it's taken the value itself, for example, for I in range, okay, it's starting from the 0 again, and it's not going to take the 20 as we already understood that if you take in the range function, the last one is excluded. So it's going to only be the 19 here. And what it does is after writing the string, it gives a space here, writes the number itself that's it's looping right now, and it's going to give another string, another text here is multiplied by itself. So if you're going to have 4, for example, it's going to write 4 multiplied by 4. But let me show you one more example. What if we're not going to use this, but I still want to get out the square of this function, right? So again, there is such option that you can use in the Python. If I run this code now, it's going to give you the exact same result. But what it does itself is that instead of multiplying the same integer to itself, it's going to go and go like, for example, it's 4. So it's going to make it like 4 to the 2. It's going to give you, of course, the exact same result, but after all, they are kind of different in the case of the functions. So that's again the slicing. So slicing, we are also going to use this a lot, especially in the input and outputs. So make sure also note down this section. So for example, for letter in Sundays, doesn't matter which thing you write here, it is not related with the letter. If I for example go here for I in letter, right? For I in letter, just print the I. It's supposed to give me every letter that is inside my string. Even for example, Sunday, and let me just add another thing, Monday. It's even going to give you the spaces. So it doesn't matter what you have as your like the letters or numbers. within the string, it's going to go and loop through all of them and just print with this for I loop. But again, if you just want to make sure that so it looks kind of cool, or like kind of like the better understanding, you can just go to the letter. However, do not forget to also change the text right here to make it letter. All right, now days of the week. I think we're back to the slicing here, and what we're gonna do, the first item, which is the index of the 0 item. So it's gonna give me the Sunday, and if I go, however, do this. Okay, now the thing is that what does this slicing do? It says that start from 0 and go to the 2. However, again, as it works in the for I loops and for the case of the ranges, the last one is also going to be excluded. So it's going to show me the index of the 0th and the first item. However, it's going to stop at 2 because it's excluded. And if I go, for example, if I want to get the first 3 items of my list, I'm just going to go and run this code. I'm going to get the 0, the item of that exists in the index of index of 0, then the 1, then the 2. And it's going to, as this 3 is excluded, it's not going to be showing me the 3rd index, right? It goes and for here. That's very good actually written code. If you want to keep your code a little shorter, especially we're going to have such challenges in the future coming up events. If you want to keep your code shorter and also much more professional looking way, if you just don't write 0 here, in the slicing, Python automatically gets as default it is 0. So it doesn't matter if you write 0 here or not, it's going to automatically take it as 0. And that was the reason that we actually, when we use the first, for example, the string and reverse the string directly, the days of the week, that's why we didn't write any zeros there. It would make the same thing, but still, as it comes default, we are not supposed to write it. Yeah, let's for example move to the next one, for the -2 to the end. So -2 is gonna be like the -1, -2 from the last, right? We're starting from the end and going again to the last. So that's gonna again show me the -2 and -1's item, and that's gonna end there. All right, okay, let's continue about this. It's gonna literally show you the same stuff. We're starting with the first index, ending at the 6th index, which is gonna show you the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth indexes. As you can see, we already also have here like the 5 different items in the list, and the 6 is excluded because it's the last item in my list. And this is gonna do literally the same thing, but however, it's gonna get you the letters. So starting from as I mentioned, that the reason there isn't anything here, if it's starting from 0 or something, it's automatically 0 as I'm accepting it, because that's a default how it comes with a Python. So the 0's index is gonna be the S, then I'm gonna have U because it's the first, then I'm gonna have N, which is the second, and I'm not gonna take the third one because, as I mentioned again, it is excluded as always. So it's gonna give me the word sound as a result. Hope it makes sense. Now this is where it's actually interesting. So you can't just create your range functions. For example, right now, what we have created here is that from 0 to 40, where 40, of course, again, not excluded, it's not included. Just keep in your mind, you might actually get tricked about this in the exams also. So starting from the integer 0 to the 39, included this time, you are going to have a list of numbers. And we are saying that the numbers, let's go, like, for example, if I'm going to have a list of, for example, okay, let me just do it. If I'm going to have a list of, example, 0, 2, 4, 6, and so on, ending at the end like 38 or 39, sorry. Want to get, starting from the second index, 0, 1, 2, which is supposed to be, oh wait, actually that's my bad. We are supposed to write here 1, 2, 3, 4 because we haven't cut it yet. It's going to be 39 at the end. And the second item of this list is, as we have mentioned also here, is going to be, as the index 0 is 0, the first index 1, the second index is 2, we are starting from 2, and every time we are jumping by 2. So it's supposed to be, I'm supposed to get the result as 2, then 4, then 6, then 8, and so on. Let me just run the function, by the way. Okay, let me then just print the functions. I hope that I hope that shows the result. Never mind, it doesn't. But let me just, okay, it wanted itself. The thing is that, guys, think in your mind that this actually creates a list, right? And what I can find is for I in events, just print I. So I'm just gonna tell that, okay, if you don't want to give me the whole list directly, I will get it by one from you. So if I run the code now, you're gonna see that, as I mentioned from here, starting from 2, every time it's increased by 2, because we are only getting the evens, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and unless we are hitting the 39, because 39 is odd and we do not get the 40 because it's excluded. So we're gonna just cover. So this is gonna create our list here, right, pretty fast. And even though it's because of the probability return function in the Google Colab, it's related. It's not gonna give you the list. However, if you just look through the list, it's gonna give you.
So
yeah.
I want to take a break before the next topic, and so maybe we have some questions right now, and for 3 minutes we can take some questions at this point, and
yeah, sure.
maybe Vusal can explain this front end and back end things, how we connect the Python at the end of this session to the front end and the back end technologies. Some about the web developments. Maybe Vusal can summarize the before topics and the rest of the next topics, and we can take some questions during this summarization.
Right. Yeah. If anybody has any questions, just feel free to ask them. And we're gonna be. I think that only the Boolean values left, and yeah, there's nothing actually really much left here, beside the functions. And the functions, as you know, the output is just right. Let me just show you that very fast. This is how, for example, Fibonacci functions work. What is Fibonacci, by the way? Let me just also show that very fast. Fibonacci algorithm. So what is Fibonacci? Like that. So you start with the 0 and 1, and every next value that's coming next is going to be the sum of the for example, the 0 and 1 is going to be 1. So then 2 is going to be the sum of the indexes that's coming, the first and the second one that comes with the first, right. Wait. So the 2 is going to be the sum of 1s, and the 3 is going to be found by the sum of 2 and 1. Then the 5 is going to be found by the sum of 3 and 2, etc. So it goes on to the infinity. So this is a function of how actually it was mentioned here. However, yeah, you can just go and just write your own function if you want to, but this is how it's gonna work. So writing the syntax of the function is like this. For example, after declaring your function, and here it goes its name, and anything that's in the parentheses goes as input values. So this is how it's gonna go actually.
This kind of questions may be asked in the exam or quizzes, and we wanted to actually improve or develop yourself before midterms, and it is really good opportunity to develop yourself in these kind of question types like Fibonacci or anything like that.
Especially for the people actually who are really like interested in competitive programming, as Python really not a good example of competitive programming. These are actually questions and the functions that you are going to learn by heart. So as weird as it sounds, guys, the thing is that you're gonna have always a limited time of range, a time of period, and in order to be the fastest, you are supposed to learn the algorithms. And this is called actually data structures, which you're probably gonna go to and take the course in. I think, as far as I know, the third grade, right? Back right?
Yeah, probably we have no question right now, so we can pass to the next topic.
Great.
Very fastly, because we thought it should be 1 hour, and
yeah, true.
we have almost 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
So
yeah, great, no problem.
Really, I want you to introduce the web development things after that at the end of this topics. So because it is very important, because we will have some events like web development and game developments after these Python workshops. So maybe Vusal is going to perform this or is going to resume these events one more time, and after that we will pass and we will connect to these topics into the web development, and with our core team member Hamza and me, we will cover later on after these workshops. So it is very important. So I wanna mention one more time that the time, our time.
Yeah. Okay.
Time.
Great.
So I'm passing to the backside again, and I will leave you alone.
All right. Thanks so much, Berkay. So we don't really have a lot of stuff to do actually, and the rest is just the Tuples and Dictionaries, which are actually also easy. Let me just show you very fast. So because I also want to just move to the project, not gonna lie, and the project side it's gonna be fun, even though it's so simple actual script that I'm going to show you. So as we mentioned, in order to declare our functions, we have to use the syntax called as def, followed by the name of your function, and what you're going to write in the between the parentheses is going to be the input values. You can't just leave it up as blank if you don't want to just use any special the input values from the global variables. But yeah, it's mostly used in complex projects to kind of like divide whole system into different functions and use with each other to make it much more readable and understandable. So for example, this is a tuple value. If I just run it, you're gonna see it's tuple 1, 2, high, and 9.0 actually. However, the thing is that you might ask that, then what's the difference of the tuple from a list, right? So why don't I just go use for example something like this as in list with it? So what is the difference? The thing is that, guys, even though list is like so easy to like the thing is that it's called the tuple functions and the list functions. The tuple and the list is called like mutable and immutables. So the mutables means like it can be removed, it can be added new values and etc. stuff. This is actually mutable, and that's called for the list. However, for the tuple values and tuple functions, actually you cannot use the same thing, as it's not gonna let you do that, and it's gonna give you like directly error at the end. So for example, you can again get the for example the index item of the tuple that you want to get, which is going to go for example 0 first. The first index is going to be the 2. However, you're not going to be really just go for, okay, let me just go to append 7. It's going to say that tuple object has no attribute append, because you cannot really just go and just, for example, this is my tuple, let me just add a new like integer or data type to my tuple. It's not really just that possible. So however, if you just go, for example, and say that my first element, which is in the first index actually, to change 7 to 7, it's not going to work either, okay? Because tuple also doesn't really support the item assignment. All right, moving next. This is also the type of the tuple that's showing. And here we have different tuples actually collected and gathered all together within our list. If I just run this code, for example, it's not going to show me anything because I have to run my positions. Right. So as you can see, if I go and find, for example, the first tuple of the list, it's supposed to show me the Bob 0, 0 and 21, 0, right? And what we're gonna be doing here is also like there's a min-max function created here. What it does, it literally just goes and it's straight through the list of the positions list, finds all the values of the Bob, cat, dog, and all these values actually, which is assigned as X and Y, and it is actually at the end giving out you the biggest and the smallest values compared to them each other. As you can see, as a minimum we get 0, 0, which is right here, 0, 0, and we have 1.2 as our max, I guess, the integer, the float value, sorry. So yeah, moving on next, one of the most used the functions of the Python itself is that the reversing for example, is if the X and Y has been assigned as 1 and 2, you can easily change them to 2 and 1 within the seconds by just using one line of code. For example, if I just go and print my X and Y here, and at the end print my X and Y after the line of the replacement, as you can see, my Y and X is now X and Y. So we're kind of like replacing their places and values. So if I run the code, even though in my first one the X is 1 and Y is 2, in my second one after replacing them, it's going to be 2 and 1. Simple as that actually again. And we have again the sum list and a sum list function, how to create the list. Then we have here the dictionary. This is very important stuff actually. So let me just run it. So we have a dictionary created by of the 3 different people named as Rick, Bob, and Fred. How do I find there are 3? Every comma that you find, not the comma actually, every like the comma, I guess. Every time you find it, that means you have a new item with its identity that's coming followed by. So after having that, for example, I would see that Rick has a value of 46, Bob has a value of 86, and Fred has a value of 21. So if I want to find specifically the value of Fred, all I'm going to write is that in the ages, this is how you search in the dictionaries actually. Go to the ages and find me the value that's related to Rick. In our case, Rick is 46, and just print it out by saying that Rick's age is this something, right? And it's gonna do the same stuff. So let me go down below, and this is another option actually to create the dictionaries. As you can see, the dict function. Either you can just use this parenthesis, I guess, but if you just also go ahead and use it, write the dictionary and just use this parenthesis, normal parenthesis, it's gonna work anyways. And is that going to give you the length of the T? Yes, it's gonna give you the length of the T. It's actually above actually, yeah. But you can also find the length of the ages, for example, our dictionary, which is going to be 3. So you might think that we have actually 6 different items, and how do we get the actual 3 here? The thing is that you have 3 different items assigned: Rick, Bob, and Fred. And the length actually, according to them, is 3 because we have 3 different dictionaries written down. Oh, by the way, there was H here actually. I just missed it. No problem. And this is a quick introduction to Matplotlib. I really want to just move on to the project very fast. Oh wait, right. I think I didn't. Yeah, is that because of the? Let me just do that out. Yeah, I didn't actually run the Fibonacci function above, so that's why it's going to give me the error that you haven't run this function. So you cannot expect also the same function being run and showing it as a result. But yeah, I can. If you just go over, by the way, guys, after this live event, if we just go and I think it was a run all the code, run all. It's going to run all the functions, and you're gonna see actually Matplotlib drawing a function here and showing all the values between. I think it was supposed to be 0 and 10, if I'm right. So, but yeah, that's how, and we are almost done, by the way. So the conclusion is import this. This is how you import the libraries, right, which I was supposed to say at the beginning, but I just remembered about it. So import this. To import this, you can also, for example, import this as this, right? So if you want to like import a very like the long named library, but every time you have to use it, you are supposed to, for example, use this dot function. However, if your function's name is going to be, for example, so long, something like this, right? In order to write this, by the way, this the library and its function, you're supposed to write this very long the command. So by just using this, all you can do is just, for example, this and the function's name is going to be much more than enough to actually run the function inside it. So this is where we actually now start talking about the NumPy. NumPy probably already just got in the first semester, as far as I know. Let me just all around all the functions right here. So it's gonna give you, so this a thing that calls D. It's supposed to be diagonal, like if I'm right. So and here, let me just run all the functions, by the way, so you see what's really going on. Okay, cool. Here we go. Now let me go above, and this input array. So it's creating an array with here D written. So it's going to go over from 1 to 6 and create a one-dimensional array, as you can see. However, if you move down below, you're going to see D is a capital letter, which is actually another function that array function of the NumPy library takes, and it's going to show the same exact actual like this down below, 0 and 0 dot something J, right? So here it's going to also show you the type of this by just using the I function, as you can see, and the same actually one-dimensional array with not dots, by the way. It's just integers. It's not there. There's no float values here. However, it's going to also show you the type of this the array. And the same goes for here. This is actually not two-dimensional array, because as you can see, as many like list icons or the symbols do you have, the more dimensions do you have in your array. So as I have like 2 lists here, or 2 list symbols starting and 2 list symbol actually ending, that means I have 2-dimensional array at the end, right? And this is how it's going to look: 0, 1, and it's the second one is 1, 0, as you can see, 0, 1, and 1, 0. And moving to the next, we have the zeros function. There's also ones, zeros. What it does is, for the size, for example, 3 by 3 one-dimensional array. Oh wait, it's actually 2-dimensional array. My bad. And what it's going to do is create like 3 rows and 3 columns, all filled with the zeros, as you can see, like all filled with the zeros, and 3 by 3 array actually. And it's going to do the same thing for the 3 if you don't go this one-dimensional array, as you can see. But here we use a 2-dimensional array. Moving next, we have like the 1 row. Okay, if you just go and 1, it's gonna still create you a 1-dimensional array. I mean 2-dimensional array, but it's gonna only have 1 row actually. No extra. I mean 1 row and 3 columns. So you can just use 1 to create 2-dimensional arrays, but still it's gonna have the same kind of looking way as you have the above without 1, right? And this D is going to go and create, for example, this one is going to, again, we're going to fill it with our array with the zeros. And here it's going to create 3 rows and only 1 column. As you can see, 3 rows and only 1 column. Yeah, it's actually very easy about the NumPy. So we'll just have to have this kind of the key terms, I guess, ready to go with yourself. But as I mentioned, all if you can find in our GitHub page. So everything going to be written down there. And we have the the identity. What does ident function does? It kind of creates an array that's the same amount of rows and columns, and it's diagonally, even though it's all like 0, diagonally it's going to be 1 from the left to the right side. If you just take care, in diagonal, it's like the 1.1.1. All of them actually are supposed to be the float values. So if I go down below, here we go. And this is actually where we're going to just plot our sinus x function. But how we define is that if you just use the line space, it's going to give from 0 to the 1 all the values actually by the same kind of increase order. As you can see, from 0, 2, 0, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So every time it's increasing. And here, if you just do the same thing here, we're going to have 11 different. I mean, let me actually count. It's supposed to be, I think the last one is also excluded here. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Yeah, it's actually included. That's nice because we have started 0. I just noticed. If you start from the 0, yeah, it's supposed to be that way. And every time we're adding only 0.1, and at the end we're gonna have the one-dimensional array. And if we go here and multiply the 0, and from 0 to 2 actually, all the values, and multiply by 3.14, we're gonna have a function such as, and if I take this, of course, it's x, all the values, and put it in my sinus, which is also included in my NumPy array, or my NumPy function, we're gonna have the values as shown in down below. And what I can just do it is that, okay, go to my matplotlib graph and just graph all the sign values on my graph, and we're gonna get an image like that at the end. That's it actually, I guess. So matrix operations, you're probably not gonna use this for now, especially for the first semester, if you're the first semester. But yeah, let me just in case, just run the functions to show you that how it's supposed to look like. All right. So that's how it looks like actually, and you're not going to really find much more difference than how we work with the NumPy, because NumPy itself is also a matrix library. So if you just go and check them out, I don't really want to lose a lot of time now, and just move to the coding of our project. Okay, cool. So let me just open my code. So now we are moving to actually to work with this side. So as you can see, this side is actually is a typing side. All you have to do is just write your word, leave a space, and just check your speed of how fast you write, and etc. Right? You can see, etc. If you just write something wrong and just pass it, it's going to show that as red. If you just write it wrong, it's going to show as green. And the current code that you're on is going to be shown as purple. What we're going to be doing today is just actually creating a code based on that. So let me just create a new code in the name of Python. Actually, 1 second. How are you doing, Becca, by the way?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, actually, it lasted around 1 hour. You are really perfect. Thanks for your presentation. Actually, you are gonna pass to the next topic, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to do actually the project that what we're going to do, and I just really want to show the last version, how it's supposed to look like, and what we are actually working on. So if I run the script right now, we're gonna see like a new tab popping up. And by the way, as you can see, I'm not even touching my keyboard, my mouse, but as you can see, all the words are actually being written with the 100% accuracy and with the speed of 1,700 words per minute. So without touching even your keyboard, by running a script, how you can actually do that, how you can achieve this, is we're going to explain the whole. I'm going to actually create the whole algorithm in my mindset first of all, then draw it as the comments. Okay, this thing gonna go here, then this thing gonna go there, and such a stuff. For example, right here, and at the end we're just gonna build our function. Our script. Again, as I mentioned, don't please just go and hesitate on like okay, I should have opened my IDE. I should write this code. Now you're gonna get and face a lot of issues actually. And before doing that, just draw a very accurate model of your like the whole script that you want to write, and it's going to be actually much more accurate with that way, I guess. And also you're going to face the less issues and errors. And even if you do, all you have to do is just open your Google Chrome at any time, and even whenever you get the error, just copy the error. Actually, just search for it in Stack Overflow mainly, and for the other sites, and try to solve it by yourself. Do not ask for anyone, and do not be in need of the someone, for example, of your friends and so on. Okay, so just try always solve it by yourself. So what we are doing here is that we are using the Selenium library. All you have to do in order to just let me just run that thing to install it very fast. All you have to do is just keep install Selenium, and it's going to automatically download and install on your device. So I'm already installed it. So if I just still do it, it's going to say me that requirement already satisfied. So you don't really need to just download. It's already there, right? You're downloading the same stuff that you have downloaded before, right? So I've already downloaded it, so I have that. We are also going to use the library called as time. Now, what time this library does, it actually, you can freeze your code anywhere you want on the screen, which is pretty sweet thing. So, for example, what in my logic am I supposed to do, or like I do, so I want my code also do the same stuff, is that open my Google Chrome or the browser that you use. In my case, it's gonna be Google Chrome. So, but it can be literally anything. But I also suggest you actually use the Chrome for the web scraping stuff, because it's much more accurate. Actually, not gonna lie, it's very accurate, and also you will face less issues like related with the browser and the connection of the libraries. So I'm suggesting to use the Chrome. And what you have to have is, let me just show you that also, is called as Chrome driver. What is Chrome driver? If you just go to the side, it's going to tell you, okay, which version you're using. All you have to do is just go and click this. I think it was about, let me see, about Chrome. As you can see, my version is 86 point something. That's just enough, more than enough. It's going to say the latest stable release is 86 point something. So just go and download this version and put it anywhere you want. But at the end, it's supposed to be actually to be in the directory that you're going to specify right here. For example, right now, that the file that I've downloaded lies under the directory of Chrome driver folder, and it's named as chromedriver.exe, right? So what I'm saying to my code right now, okay, let's get it in our algorithm. Okay, now I have my Chrome actually ready to go. So I have my Chrome browser. Anytime that I want to open it, anytime I want to close it, everything is right, yeah? So moving on to the next, I want to go to the site called as typings.gg. So I'm specifying the link here. And what I'm just saying to my code is that my browser, which is right here, I've specified, it's Chrome and with this file. So whenever you just click this, it's going to open your browser and go to this link. The reason is that the get is actually a function included within the Selenium library, and it lets you like get to the link, get open, or find a path, etc. stuff. All the libraries, all the commands are lying down the Selenium's library. And what this time.slip does is it's just little taken and phrasing your code right here, and it doesn't go and move and just do all the steps right here. Okay, so you just come to the browser and wait for 1 second. But if you would ask yourself, why would you wait like 1 second if you want to like get the fastest results, right? The thing is that you don't have to think just that it is doing it by Python. Within that 1 second, a lot of stuff actually changing. If in that second, if the page is not going to load, it's going to cause you crash because you're trying to find an element on a page that hasn't been even loaded yet. If the page is not loaded yet, that means no buttons, no words, nothing is even visible. And that's going to cause you a big issue, actually, and it's going to pop up a lot of issues. So always, whenever you are working with the web scraping projects, make sure, guys, to actually go over and be patient about that, okay? Because if you're not gonna, if you're gonna have like small latencies, then it's gonna actually cause like some issues that you will not even understand why it's happening. So yeah, I'm always just for the fact that it should be stable and stuff. I'm just giving a second of the stop here. And when my website, when I hope, I mean, within the 1 second, my website is going to open, I'm getting such stuff. Now, first of all, where did such things actually come from, right? Let me open it very fast. So when you open this site before, I mean, for the first time in your life, it will be in this looking way. So the reason that it opens as 250 for my case is because this site actually stores cookies. What does cookies do is, for example, if you just left for 250 for the last time, and the next time you are going to open the site, it's not going to click and open it with the 50 words, but again, 250 words, because that's how the cookie saved. Okay, this guy is actually likes, for example, using 250 words over the 50 and 100. So let's keep it like that in the cookie. So next time, whenever he opens the site, he's going to just get the same amount of words to make his process much more easier. However, this is not the same that goes for our code. Every time it runs the code, it is downloading and opening the new Google Chrome, which means all the cookies are literally deleted, and you don't have anything. And every time you open a website, you're going to start with the 50 words as default. However, in order to make it much more fun and just much more interesting, I'm going to tell it that, I actually don't really want to go with 50 words. Let's go with 250. It's too long, and I really enjoy like looking the green light and the green text go one by one. I really enjoy it. So what I do is right-click at 250.
Actually, there is some competition website, something like that. Between the 10,000 people, there is a competition was performed, something like that. I see something like that competitions, actually.
Yeah, the thing is that
it is really fun. It is really funny.
It is actually, and the thing is that even for the upcoming weeks or events, We are also planning, guys, as DSC group to bring, for example, such contests. For example, like 20, 30, or how many of us actually wants to join. They all join together and work for a project or like for the same code in different languages that you think that you are actually proficient enough. So we all actually compete for the same code. And whoever, for example, gets, like, there's different categories. For example, who gets the fastest code, who writes the fastest and the most accurate code, who writes, for example, the shortest code, who writes the most efficient code, like different categories. And it's gonna be so much fun, actually. Just be sure of that. And also make sure also to follow the future events and announcements. So it's gonna be so much fun. I bet that. Anyways, coming to our code, if I open, for example, inspect, it's gonna open something like this on my right case, right? If you want to scrape a website, you have to also be like aware of what you are working with. You have to know like which elements, which kind of type of data types you are working with. In my case, I see only a few lines of code, and my 250 is right here. This site is so simple, by the way. What I'm going to do is that if I come to my line, I'm already thinking that on the left side, it's being highlighted to my 250, as you can see. Like this is 100, this is 250, right? Okay, let me just go back again. Here we go. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go here and I'm just gonna copy its XPath. Now, coming to my code, if I go down this below and show you that it is the exact same, let me just do it very fast. Here we go. Now, as you can see, it is the exact same location. And believe it or not, in such programming, in this web scraping, in the XPath, every element on the site has its own unique ID. In my case, my ID is CC250, and there's nothing that can be called as CC250 in the site once again. So that means we are actually finding the exact same position, and that we're not going to face any issues, for example, if 250 is going to be appear anywhere else on the site, so we might get its location. So it's not going to work like that, right? So XPath is very accurate, and it's going to give the direct location. So what I'm going to do here is, what I'm actually doing is that I'm finding the path by XPath. That's a function that we're going to use from our Selenium library, and I'm finding the button. I'm naming this the button, or you can also call it the button 250, for example. But it's completely fine for my case, calling it the button. And the dot click, the function also comes with a Selenium. Like everything is ready to go, actually. You don't have to worry about the stuff. And as my position of the button is already known, what I'm saying to my code is that just click there. So whenever it opens, okay, let me imagine that I'm in Python code right now. I'm opening the website. It's going to start with 50 as default. And what it's going to do is just find the button of the button name that's 250 and just click it once. And we are already ready to go to copy our text and just paste down in our input field and just get the result and just enjoy it. So after clicking again, I hope you also notice that I give one second of more freezing and delay here, just in case that from 50 moving to 250 might take much more than actually a few seconds or milliseconds. So it might cause another crash. So I'm giving it another second right here. So while it switches from 50 to 250, it takes its time and doesn't really like face such issues, right? So that's all, actually. And after coming to the last part, I'm also thinking about that my input field. I'm doing the same step for my inspect element. Then I'm going to go here, inspect my input field. And here my input field, as you can see right here, I'm also going to copy its XPath, which I've already done before. Here, if we just check this position, find where it's here. Okay, here, actually, sorry. Its XPath, its name is also ID, is called as input field. Again, XPath are so unique, they cannot be more than one named IDs in one page, actually. Starting from I equal to 1, so I'm taking, okay, now you might think that, okay, like we got everything ready to go, but how would you get the first, that this is the first text, then the second text, then third text? We have to loop through this, yeah? You understand, like that, starting from the first one, there are 250 words, so we are going to probably loop like 250 times, and every time we loop one of them, we are going to copy the text and just right here, paste the code here, I mean the word itself, and just run it, right? As simple as that. So let me just copy the XPath of this. So what I'm trying to do to find right now is actually a kind of a common element or common stuff. So I see that all of them are the span, so which is pretty fine. And as I go, I actually highlight the worlds, which is also pretty cool. So if this is my first code, for example, and if I get the number, which is second of my word, if I copy its XPath at the same time, if I go right here and paste it, I'm looking for something in common. What can be common in these two words that by changing them, I can switch and move between this among these words? So I think that the first things are the same. The ID is text display. However, the spans are different. That's already creating an algorithm in my mind that if I try with 1, then if my I is going to be 2, is that going to take that out? So I'm not sure with only 2 elements. So I'm going to get one more element from the XPath, which is going to be the third word. And if I paste it here, I'm going to see that yes, we actually do. That all the stuff are actually the same, besides the span's own ID, which is the 1, 2, 3. Okay, what about if I try the last element, right? Which is the thing. If I get this XPath element, am I supposed to see the 250? Let's see that. If it is, that means we have already got our algorithm ready to go. Yes, we actually do, as you can see. So all of these actual texts are listed in the ID text display things, and with the span IDs of the from 1 to 250. Great. Now coming to my loop. What I'm saying to this my code is that browser defined element by XPath. So I'm trying to find the path of this every world in my code, and every time I do, I'm actually giving it a string I. Right? What does it do is actually I'm turning my I. So if it's in the 10th iteration, which means it's supposed to find the 10th world, it goes and write here 10, and it's going to combine all this string together, which we have covered about a few lines ago in our Google Colab, that how to combine strings together. And we're going to have a value of, if it is the 10th iteration, it's going to be the span 10, it's going to be 11, it's going to be 11, 20, 30, 40, and it goes on. And what I do is that the function called as .text takes the position of the text, the XPath actually, and turns whatever is within that location to a text. And as a string, it tries it. I've saved it to my current world. So every time I get the verse position, I turn the position that what's actually hiding behind that text. I'm actually turning it to my text form and saving into my current world. And every time what I do is that input field was already declared above, and every time I'm just taking the world with the text on it and just sending it to my input field. However, I just want to just show one more thing, and then we're going to end it. That if I run my code, it's going to open everything's going to be the same. What I'm doing is just taking the world and just sending it to the input field. But there is something wrong, as you can also just feel. I think it's writing the worlds, but there's something wrong that I don't make I don't make even like a single progress. What can be it is like? But my code works completely fine. The words after, with, mean, and I mean the way, where, like, I mean they're the words here. But there's something wrong that but what, in order to fix that issue, I have to actually do it myself. Do I write like the set over? No, I don't do it like that, right? So every time I write a word, I always leave a space to actually move to the next word. So that's exactly the same thing that I'm going to do here. It's adding a space. So every time it writes the word, it's going to leave a space right after it. So it's going to move to the next word. Now, if I run my function, just let it open to see what's going to happen. It's going to move to the 250, and it's going to go and write perfectly, because every time it writes the word, it leaves a space and moves to the next word and next until it hits the 250 limitation. As you can see, right down, only 1600 like the words per minute. By the way, the purpose of this code actually was my friend was typing very fast, and I was like, yo, I actually type faster. He's like, no, you are not that good, and etc. stuff. I'm like, okay, just wait for it. They're gonna be day that I'm gonna just write a script that's definitely going to be faster than you, and that's how the story began. And I've written the code actually. So yeah, that's probably all that we have covered so far today. But that's a lot of information, I understand, and the thing is that within the limited time, it's really hard to actually make all the progress to go. Yeah, I'm coming back to Berkay actually.
So, is there anything I want our audiences to imagine? Is there anything to do with this XPath? What can we do thanks to this XPath? Can we fetch any data or anything for any specific examples?
Well,
in addition to this site.
Yeah, right. The thing is that I just wanted to mention that in our upcoming event, Hamza is going to be with us. He's a front-end developer actually, and he's going to cover all this stuff much more in detail. However, just to give a quick kind of the stuff and quick like my own opinion about the XPath. XPath is actually not that very efficient and the powerful way to write the scripts and to scrape the webs. So you have to use actually Beautiful Soup, okay? However, to just avoid all this the codes and that a lot of information again, I'm just using the XPath. This is just a landing page and the one page actually side. So it's so easy to actually use XPath. However, if the site will be updated just one day from for example, from the columns, for example, here we have the spans. if the spas will be changed to something else, while everything will be the rest the same, my code wouldn't work anymore. That's the case. So we just single update, which is so small update, whole my code will go to trash and nothing will work. So that's why XPath isn't reliable. However, if you're thinking of Beautiful Soup is a very good library actually. And in the future, in the upcoming events, we can also cover that out if everyone is down to do that. So it's going to get the specific text that you want actually from the website. Doesn't matter what you write or if it's updated or not. But that's the case actually. But XPath is not really that reliable, I would tell.
So thank you very much. This great presentation. I want to thank you. It is really beneficial before the midterm. You covered all of the topics that we told before. You applied the plan, and it is really good. It is really honor for all of us. So
yeah, I would also like to thank to everyone who joined, who will with us for the event. For the upcoming events, guys, by the way, we're thinking like some kind of the projects that I really don't want to give spoilers about, but believe it or not, it's gonna be so fun, and for sure you have to be a part of this. And it's all together we are stronger, and we have to also continue all together in our upcoming events. And again, thanks for joining to everyone who will with us from the start to the end. And till the next events, I guess.
So I want to share a form. We are gonna mention our plans for next plans about to write a code together. So let me share my screen.
Oh, by the way, I've just seen that hack rank and coding game here. Guys, coding game and hack rank is also one of our the plans to do in the upcoming weeks. For example, in one day of a week, it can be Saturday again or like Sunday. And what we're gonna do, just go and just gather all together. Like as many, the better, the more is better actually. So what we're going to do is just go over and do the same tasks and programming all together while having fun. We can just also gather in Discord while we're doing this. So it's gonna be so fun and very educative for sure. So make sure to also join those events where we're going to code together and learn a lot of stuff all together.
So is there any question about the Python or anything about this community? We have some ideas about making interactive things under this community. So also how about our speaking clubs? Is it going to be performed on the Twitch or YouTube? And
Right.
how is it going to perform?
The thing is that right now, as we all know, most of the part of the students that are in Medipol are international students. So even the reason that we are doing all these events in English isn't because we love to speak in English for all day. It's but because that we want all you to understand the same way. Okay, it's not if we could do the same thing in Turkish also without any issues and hesitation. However, we all want actually to understand for our international students also. So we also care about you, and that's why we have to choose a language in common. However, coming to the speaking events, we're going to make them in our Discord server. If you haven't joined yet, by the way, I think did we share the Discord link in the chat? If not, could we please just do it? So anybody who hasn't joined our Discord group yet in our Google Medipol DSC, just make sure to be a part of this. And for the upcoming announcements, the events and etc., the first announcement is going to be popping up from our Discord server, not our WhatsApp actually. And all the events even are going to be handled and done in our Discord server, including the speaking events, where we are going to learn Turkish, then the English, and so on all together. So if you haven't joined yet, make sure to join it. Yeah, that's all.
So if you have now any question, we will stop the stream.
I don't really see a lot of questions coming up.
So I want to share our Discord server, by the way.
True, yeah, let's do it, please.
So that is our Discord channel, and so don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel and follow us on through Instagram or join our WhatsApp group, and you can reach out to us and ask anything on the WhatsApp or Discord. We are actually we are all of us are online in the Discord due to the exams or homeworks. We are in the contact there.
True, yeah. And if you have any questions, especially to ask to any of the core team members, or like even if you want to get in touch with the others and collab on a project, homeworks, or like anything that you want to, I think that's gonna be one of the best places for you all actually to gather around and to find the links to each other. You know, like, so we are actually trying to get all the engineering stuff and all the engineering students all together and under just one community. So the thing is that the reason being, I think we're going to be much more successful altogether if we just also gather together.
Yeah, I'm really totally agree with you. It is really good opportunity for all of us to improve ourselves. It is really good. There is a very huge community behind of these DSCs. There are really good contents were prepared by the Google developers, and we can reach these contents, and we have an opportunity to share with you these contents, and this is a really good opportunity for all of us. So guys, that's all for today. But before finishing this live stream, I want to mention our schedule. Our at the end of this month and the December plans. Our December plans is gonna be performed. We are gonna be performed some game developments events and some web developments events. And in addition to these, we are gonna perform some UI and UX design events, by the way. And we contacted with someone's to organize Android Study Jam. As you know, maybe you know, maybe you heard before, and this is really good. Actually, we have really good special guests. We contacted with him. So actually, I guess it is gonna be performed at the end of this month, maybe last week of November. So that's all for today. Thank you for Vusal, your presentation, and thanks for audiences to join here. So
you're welcome.
Do you have anything you add anything?
Well, I think that's also all today. We have like spent like almost like an hour and a half now. So everybody just go. Again, just let me share the link down below about our GitHub page. So this is where, by the way, the upcoming events codes and the source codes are going to be shared in. So make sure to go, and either if you want to fork the code or like if you want just to check the code, just download them all the codes right in our GitHub link. And you can also just, without even taking the notes, you can just have the whole live stream codes that you have worked on ready in your device. That's all.
See you guys. Thank you.
Take care, guys.